Oswald will have reaction to President Reagan's budget proposal and what it could mean for our colleges and university students. In outlining his budget plan, the president is asking that Congress approve cutting money from the student loan program and implementing an interest charge on loans while students are still in school. Also, we'll learn more about Iowa State climatologist Paul Waite, so join us tonight at 6.
The Philippine presidential campaign ends amid predictions of violence and vote fraud. President Reagan sends Congress a budget boosting defense programs, cutting social programs.
NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening, I'm Roger Mudd. Tom Brokaw is on his way to the Philippines, where today the acrimonious presidential campaign officially ended after 57 days. The country is now in what is supposed to be a cooling off period before the voting starts tomorrow. But even the remote chance that the 20-year rule of Ferdinand Marcos might end has left the Philippines jumpy, trigger-happy, and vindictive. Here's Keith Miller in Manila.
The bitterness of the campaign was expressed on the streets of Manila today. Supporters of Corazon Aquino taunted Marcos's followers. There was sporadic violence, but no serious injuries. Aquino supporters came under attack too near her hometown. Soldiers surrounded the car of Aquino's sister and punched the driver. The soldiers discovered they were being watched and went after photographers. 2 shots were fired, no one was hit. An NBC News team was threatened and its camera destroyed. Aquino's sister was unhurt, but still frightened.
I see all these heads coming in the car, and then another group of soldiers go to the side of the car, try to open it to pull out my son who was beside me and my daughter who was in front.
Mrs. Aquino wrapped up her campaign with a prayer for honest and peaceful elections. President Marcos took his final campaign rally to the same park where his challenger attracted nearly 1 million supporters yesterday. It rained on the Marcos parade. He couldn't draw a quarter of the crowd that turned out for Aquino. He accused the opposition of creating an atmosphere of hatred, anger, and revolution.
But if you insist in using violence, then violence it is.
His warning only increased the fears that today's violence will carry over to this Friday's balloting and beyond. Keith Miller, NBC News, Manila.
There are now at least 129 accredited foreign observers in the Philippines watching for vote fraud and intimidation. 20 observers from the U.S. arrived today and were promptly accused by a pro-Marcos paper of gratuitous nose poking. Here's Steve Mallory in Manila.
The American observers arrived in Manila with a tough assignment. Vote fraud in the Philippines could put Chicago to shame. But reform was the theme Senator Lugar brought in a message from President Reagan.
And this election is of great importance to the future of democracy in the Philippines.
Nowhere are democratic principles as violated as in the town of Danao. Ramon Durano, who owns the town, doesn't hide his willingness to sacrifice to ensure President Marcos's re-election. Durano welcomes the American observers, but with a warning.
You come here and then I'll assure you that nothing will happen to you. But don't make any monkey business. We will cut the tail of the monkey.
The leader of a Filipino watchdog group says there's only a 50-50 chance of a fair election.
I believe that organized and wholesale attempts will be made deliberately to frustrate the will of the people on the election day.
350 voters are registered in these 2 buildings, 26 voters here, all with the same birthday. The village of Des Moines is one of 52 that the government says has more registered voters than people, 10,000 more. The printing and numbering of ballots is so primitive as to invite counterfeiting. But when it comes to cheating big, the ballot boxes are the target. When they're moved from precinct to tally center, strange things happen.
In transit, they either diverted the vehicle somewhere else or they already had stuffed boxes in the vehicles, and what they delivered to the municipal hall were the stuffed ballot boxes. No? We can't let that happen again.
The Aquino campaign has asked Filipinos and poll watchers not to let the boxes out of their sight. But some people will be too scared. Militiamen with obvious loyalties easily intimidate voters. And now that the Army has been called in Marcos's words, to safeguard the election process, people are uneasy. Villagers know that the gunmen and the Army will be around long after the observers are gone. Steve Mallory, NBC News, Manila.
Jean-Claude Baby Doc Duvalier, the besieged ruler of Haiti, is looking for another country to call home. The governments of Greece and Spain said today they had refused Duvalier's request for political asylum, and Switzerland said it's refused his request for visas for himself, his family, and 50 friends. U.S. administration sources Duvalier's time is running out in Haiti. NBC's Dennis Murphy reports now from Port-au-Prince.
When President Jean-Claude Duvalier was last seen in public on Monday, he said he was president for life and would stay. But diplomatic sources say he is seeking political asylum. Duvalier is secluded in the palace. His soldiers control the streets. Under threat of jail terms, heavy fines, and even expulsion from Haiti, merchants were ordered today to open their stores. Most shops here have been closed since last week's violent demonstration. As many as half the stores in the capital remain shuttered. Some merchants have received threatening phone calls. Anti-government activists say they'll burn the shops if they open. Duvalier's soldiers have placed Haiti under virtual house arrest. Unconfirmed stories of killings and beatings have paralyzed the island with fear. One of Haiti's biggest employers, GTE Sylvania, the electronics company, has at least temporarily closed its plant. The manager returned to the United States after being threatened. The American businessman, like most Haitians this week, was running scared. Dennis Murphy, NBC News, Port-au-Prince.
Also coming up on our broadcast tonight, amid political theatrics and clowning, President Reagan's big blue budget arrives on Capitol Hill, some say dead on arrival. And Steve Hurst reports from within Afghanistan, let in by the pro-Soviet government.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. And when many adults get a cough, they play doctor at home. They treat their cough with the same medicine they originally bought for their children. They need one of the adult formulas from Vicks for the coughs adults get, with the strength adults need. Formula 44 for coughs, 44D for coughs with congestion, and Formula 44M for coughs with congestion and a raw, irritated throat. The adult formulas. You can't buy anything more effective.
The adult formulas from Vicks, of course.
Thanks a lot, Citibank. Ordinary Visa and MasterCards won't do. No, Citibank always has to be better. Just by using them, my son earns bonuses called Citi Dollars. They save him up to 40% on nice gifts. But does he get me a grandfather clock or a colored television? No, not my son.
Come on, Mom, let's go! Come on, just a few more miles, Mom. Keep pedaling down that road.
Citibank's Visa and MasterCard. It's Citibank that makes them better.
This is beef burgundy from Light and Elegant. This is beef burgundy from Lean Cuisine. Shrimp Creole from Light and Elegant. Shrimp Creole from Lean Cuisine. Sliced turkey, Light and Elegant. Sliced turkey, Lean Cuisine. Light and Elegant just wanted you to know what you've been missing with Lean Cuisine. 8 entrees you only get from Light and Elegant. The choice is yours. Beef stroganoff from Lean Cuisine or beef stroganoff from Light and Elegant.
President Reagan unveiled his 1987 budget today, his first one designed to meet the deep cuts required by the Graham-Rudman-Hollings measure. The budget calls for spending $990 billion next year with a deficit of $144 billion. Defense spending will go up to $320 billion, and that's an increase of 11%, and that includes $5 billion for the Star Wars program, which is an increase of 75%. However, the budget makes major cuts in farm programs, aid to education, aid to mass transit, and the job training program, and it eliminates aid to Amtrak, eliminates the Small Business Administration, urban development grants to inner cities, and legal aid for the poor. As NBC's White House correspondent Chris Wallace reports, it's a budget that many people think is already dead on Capitol Hill.
This morning, the Reagan administration delivered the budget to reporters by ambulance, trying to ridicule the idea that the document is dead on arrival in Congress.
A7 budget lives.
At the White House, the president also tried to breathe life into his budget as he signed copies for congressional leaders.
And I hope we can work together on this important step toward a balanced budget.
But working together is unlikely, given the president's mix of sharp domestic cuts and a big defense increase. Today on Capitol Hill, the battle of the defense budget was joined.
We are not going to approve a real increase in the defense spending in the face of our absolute need to reduce the deficit for our economic security and strength.
We have given, Senator, we've given at the office, at the store, and at the Pentagon, and we have made major reductions, and we have not caused the deficit.
In the House chamber, where the president's rhetoric won cheers last night, the focus turned to Mr. Reagan's painful domestic cuts.
He left the bad news for today. This is the federal deficit budget that he is proposing.
Democrats are so certain the Reagan budget is a loser that the House Budget Committee will hold hearings around the country to publicize the cuts.
Under the Reagan budget, we won't have any roads, or railroads, or buses, or subways, or housing, or education, job training.
Given the severity of the cuts, even Republicans suggested the president may have to back off his pledge of no new taxes to soften the blow.
I think taxes could be the glue that would put this package together.
Mr. Reagan caused a stir yesterday when he said he would consider a new oil import fee. But the president emphasized today this would be done only to make a tax reform bill come out even, not to cut the deficit.
The end result must be revenue neutral, but it does not increase the amount of money we're taking from the private sector for government.
Concerned a budget deadlock will hurt them in November, Senate Republicans are calling for a domestic summit meeting to reach a grand compromise. But officials here are taking a hard line even with their own party, saying if they don't like the Reagan budget, they can try coming up with something better. Chris Wallace, NBC News, at the White House.
At Cape Canaveral today, the Challenger investigation was hampered by rough seas in the Atlantic. But as NBC's Robert Bazell reports, NASA did release today pictures of some parts recovered from the shuttle so far.
Pieces of the Challenger, mostly wing parts, which have been recovered from the ocean. NASA investigators lay them out on a grid in a huge hangar at the Kennedy Space Center to try to identify them. NASA released these pictures today after officials studied them carefully to be sure they showed nothing sensitive. In Washington today, a group of grim-faced NASA officials released the agency's new budget, prepared before the explosion and now almost meaningless.
We will not launch another shuttle until we have taken all possible steps to ensure that a tragedy of this kind, the Challenger accident, could not happen again.
30 miles out to sea from Cape Canaveral, NASA ships were trying to determine whether a large object located by sonar on the ocean floor was one of the solid rocket boosters. Rough seas made the task difficult. Investigators believe that a leak in the right solid rocket booster was the most likely cause of the explosion. If that rocket is found, they may be able to learn why it leaked. If it is not found, the investigators may never know the exact cause of the explosion. After the explosion, the Air Force range safety officer blew up the rockets by remote control because he thought they might fly toward a populated area. The nose cones parachuted into the water. The rockets are located on either side of the external fuel tank. The remotely controlled detonating explosive charges on the rockets run down the side and are designed to split the rockets in half. So investigators are hoping they might find the rocket halves. At the Kennedy Space Center today, workers turned on the power to resume work on the shuttle Columbia, even though there is no scheduled launch. And flags here were raised to full staff. The official week of mourning is over. Robert Bazell, NBC News, Cape Canaveral.
Black Muslim leader Louis Farrakhan said today he plans to defy President Reagan's ban on travel to Libya and make a trip there sometime this year. Farrakhan has also defended Libya's support for guerrilla movements around the world.
It's 5 below, but for me it's 101. I've got the flu and I ache. But I don't take aspirin anymore, or Tylenol. I choose Advil. Advil contains a non-prescription strength of ibuprofen. Doctors have prescribed ibuprofen 130 million times. And it's in Advil in non-prescription strength. Advil stops my headache, reduces fever, and relieves the aches. Shouldn't you try Advil this flu season? Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Now at Renault and Jeep dealers, new low factory financing on most new Renault models. 7.5% on Renault Alliance convertibles and sedans, on Renault Encore hatchbacks. Or get a check from the factory for up to $700 and get 7.9% financing on the all-new two-wheel drive Jeep Comanche. Save up to $1,384. Don't miss this limited time offer. See your Renault and Jeep dealer today.
Minwax makes wood beautiful.
Minwax brings out wood's rich, warm glow, so it's as beautiful to look at as it is to touch. Wood finish by Minwax penetrates deep into wood, so it's easy to get outstanding results. And when topped with our own polyurethane, Minwax protects against life's hard knocks and tough spills, letting wood's natural beauty show through.
Minwax makes wood beautiful.
Tonight's special segment is from inside Afghanistan. Since Afghanistan was invaded by Soviet troops in 1979, reporters from outside have not been welcomed. NBC's Steve Hurst tried for months to get permission to enter, and then suddenly the pro-Soviet government offered to take him on a guided tour. Here's his report.
The curfew is over for another night, and dawn comes quiet over Kabul. Not a Soviet in sight. More than Marxist ideology, more than Soviet troops, if there's anything that unifies the warring Afghans and worries atheist Moscow, it's Islam. 6 years after the Soviets invaded, the mosques still overflow for prayers. The country's 99% Muslim, devoutly so.
With much of the Muslim world condemning the Marxist Karmal regime, the atheist authorities have taken to embracing the religion, in public at least. And in return, the mullahs are giving political sermons.
They rail against the United States, Pakistan, and China. The Kabul Bazaar. No Soviets here either. On the contrary, it's a system of buying and selling, a mercantile tradition dating back centuries, totally at odds with Soviet communist theory. This factory that makes buses and small machine parts was a gift from the Soviets 25 years ago. Western reporters were brought here in an obvious attempt to show a long, peaceful tradition of Soviet assistance to Afghanistan. At the Watan Nursery, a more contemporary view of Soviet influence, political indoctrination of the very young. She's saying the rebels killed her father, that she will take the way of her father. The Russian language is everywhere. Pictures of Soviet leader Gorbachev alongside those of Afghan President Babrak Karmal. But the physical presence of Soviet troops is artfully downplayed in Kabul. Views of Soviet soldiers are rare, accidental. Shina is one of the few inhabited villages around Kabul. Others near it have been destroyed in the Soviet drive to secure the Afghan capital from rebel attacks. The drone of Soviet planes continually disturbs the otherwise peaceful scene here. The residents of the destroyed villages have fled east to Pakistan or to the mountains. 80% of the Afghan countryside remains in rebel hands. One area that is not is Jalalabad and the nearby village of Shinwar in the eastern Nangarhar province. Thousands of tribesmen put on an incredible welcome. The heavily armed men allegedly were in the village for a tribal jirga, a council meeting on increasing security measures against rebel attacks. As in Kabul, the thrust of the tour was to show life proceeding normally. Jalalabad, the provincial capital, is a dusty buzz of vendors and swarms of dirty street urchins. Life seems normal here too, except for the major Soviet helicopter base at the airport and the Soviet military garrison in a eucalyptus grove south of town. This big citrus farm lies south of Jalalabad. The authorities claim it was organized with Soviet assistance 18 years ago. These men are seeding oranges to grow new trees. As everywhere, work is interrupted for prayers. On the main road leading into Pakistan, camel caravans, still mainly nomad smugglers, continue along a route that used to carry silk traders in Marco Polo's day, on the way from Europe to India. The authorities did their job well. They showed reporters a view of an Afghanistan in a state of readiness, but certainly not under siege. A basic calm as the Marxist revolution marches forward. But they couldn't hide everything. Steve Hurst, NBC News, Kabul.
A 3 cereal family. Maybe you'll agree on one when you see how they stack up to total.
I like Special K.
Hope you're hungry. You'll have to eat almost 3 bowls to stack up to the vitamin nutrition in 1 bowl of total.
Won't take 3 bowls of Raisin Bran.
No. 4.
I'm eating shredded wheat.
You're eating 12 bowls.
I'm not eating.
Whole wheat total gives you 100% of 9 vitamins and iron. That's a stack of nutrition.
In just 1 bowl.
Arthritis sufferers are discovering Nuprin's power over minor arthritis pain.
Teaching deaf children when my arthritis acts up. Every word is painful. But I found Nuprin. It's a non-prescription strength of the same medicine in Motrin tablets.
Nuprin's totally different from aspirin or regular Tylenol and has the medicine prescribed most for arthritis.
Nuprin lets me move without pain for hours and didn't upset my stomach.
For arthritis pain, Nuprin from Bristol-Myers. It's medicine with power over pain.
He's your first child, we wanna be there. It's your new house, we wanna be there. You're working hard to make your dreams come true. Dean Witter wants to dream them with you.
No matter what goals you have in life, when Dean Witter helps plan your investments, you're treated special.
Everybody is somebody at Dean Witter.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
There's been another bombing in Paris. Today's bombing, the French capital's third this week, occurred in a retail store in the new underground shopping complex at Les Halles. 9 people were injured, 6 of them seriously. The other 2 bombs exploded in shops also frequented by tourists. A 4th bomb was found this week in the Eiffel Tower and defused. The Israeli government today refused to apologize for forcing down a Libyan jet taking Syrian politicians from Tripoli to Damascus. Israel said it did make a mistake yesterday. It thought that Palestinian guerrillas were on the plane. Pope John Paul II, halfway through his pilgrimage of peace in India, traveled today to Madras. The Pope has run into considerable criticism from Hindu religious leaders, but he said that in spite of this, the church will continue to spread its teachings. More than 500,000 people turned out for the seaside mass in the southern city. This region is home to most of India's 12 million Catholics. In this country, President Reagan reaches a milestone tomorrow, and that's the subject of John Chancellor's commentary. John?
Roger. When Ronald Reagan celebrates his 75th birthday tomorrow, he'll be entering a new category of age. Gerontologists divide the elderly into 2 groups. The young old are aged 55 to 75 years. The old are 75 and up. When Mr. Reagan gets up tomorrow morning, he'll be old. And how well is he doing, this old president? Experts on aging say he's doing very well in a demanding and stressful job. Some thought he showed signs of age when he stumbled badly in a debate with Walter Mondale in 1984, but in general he gets good marks. One doctor told me that the White House is famous for making presidents age faster. The old saying used to be that a president ages 10 years in a 4-year term. But Ronald Reagan, despite some gray hair, yes, it's beginning to show, looks not much older than he did when he moved in 5 years ago. His quick recovery from surgery is regarded as a key sign of a healthy body. Incidentally, and happily, Mr. Reagan's robust health is not unusual. The Harvard Medical School says that 70% of all Americans Mr. Reagan's age have good or excellent health. What lessons can all of us learn from the president's longevity? The doctors tell me that hard work by itself won't keep you young. Something called cognitive activity, thinking, making choices, is important. But perhaps the best way to stay young is to be lucky enough to enjoy your work, to be engaged in something you love to do. Ronald Reagan obviously enjoys being president. At his age, there could be medical troubles ahead, but as far as the odds are concerned for good health, he's in fine shape.
Buick announces low 7.9% financing.
Now's the time. You're moving up and growing. Buick's here to take you where you're going.
7.9% financing now on Buick's entry with 2.5-liter engine, Skylark, Somerset, and Regal.
Wouldn't you move it up in style, yeah? Wouldn't you? You've done it all the while, yeah.
There may be other cars with reduced financing, but they're not Buicks.
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
I'd like to talk to you about your breakfast and your health and new Fiber One. By now you've heard how important fiber is in your diet. That's where high-fiber Fiber One comes in, because a high-fiber, low-fat diet may reduce the risk of some kinds of cancer. High-fiber Fiber One, the one for fiber. It's healthy, it's smart, it's the one for me. Now make Fiber One the one for you. Try a box free. For a short time only, look for this healthy offer on specially marked boxes.
Today is going to South America. First stop, Rio for Carnival.
We'll take you to the mysterious Amazon, look at voodoo and the gauchos of Argentina.
A special week of Today in South America, starting Monday.
Teamwork is what built America. And now teamwork has come to American banking. Local savings institutions bringing you banking nationwide, yet keeping decisions close to home. For banking that's powerful and personal, team up with us, the member near you of First Nationwide Network.
A new study of AIDS patients shows that family members who share their bathtubs, towels, even their toothbrushes, run almost no risk of infection. The researchers at New York's Montefiore Medical Center say that should help calm the anxieties about AIDS. Ryan White, the schoolboy from Kokomo, Indiana, who has AIDS, flew home today from an unusual trip to Italy. As NBC's Bonnie Anderson reports, Ryan appeared on television, threw coins in the Trevi Fountain in Rome, and helped Italians better understand his deadly disease.
This is one face of AIDS that until now Italians knew very little about: child victims. 14-year-old Ryan White of Kokomo, Indiana, got the disease from a treatment for his hemophilia. Kept out of school because people in his hometown feared he might spread the disease, Ryan now publicizes his message.
You cannot get it just by touching someone or being near them. So there's no reason for anyone to be really afraid.
There are 169 confirmed cases of AIDS in Italy now. That's 7 times more than there were a year ago. Many Italians are worried and anxious to find out more about the disease.
Domanda per Ryan.
10 million television viewers, a record number for this program, tuned in to hear Ryan, his mother Jean, and sister Andrea tell his story.
I hope they will let me back.
Spero che mi lasceranno tornare a scuola.
We would like to show the world another side of AIDS and to help Ryan in any way we can to overcome or try to overcome this disease.
Hundreds of viewers called in, several offering the White family a new home, an understanding school. At a news conference earlier, Ryan talked about Rome.
It's different the way where everyone parks. they park everywhere.
While Ryan tossed coins into the Trevi Fountain, a tradition for those who want to return someday, he knows he probably won't be back. But he also knows he touched people here, and that, Ryan says, makes it all worthwhile. Bonnie Anderson, NBC News, Rome.
That's Nightly News for Wednesday. I'm Roger Mudd in New York. Good night.
Tonight, the road to war leads to a son's betrayal.
Peter's losing control.
As Peter faces the ultimate sacrifice for the future of his country.
You've already paid the price.
Give me a reason to let you live. Kill me.
The powerful finale of Peter the Great. Tonight.
Next from Newscenter 13.
President Reagan's budget could hit Iowa hard. We'll talk live with Governor Branstad with his reaction.
One major cut is in education. How will Iowa's schools survive?
And the Iowa Lottery changes its game plan.
Details on these stories, plus Mike with a wintry forecast and Jeff with sports, all coming up next.
Toyota gets the big jobs done. 26 55-pound payload, 5,000-pound towing capacity, 4x4s with the most powerful gas turbo engines on the road, and 4xs with the maximum mileage off the road. Better still, Toyotas require less scheduled maintenance than any other trucks. No wonder the most satisfied truck owners are Toyota truck owners. Who could ask for anything more? See the #1 small trucks at your Toyota dealer today.
Menards is now open in Des Moines and Urbandale, and we're smashing prices in every department. Save on Schrock and Medallion kitchen cabinets. Save on carpeting and no-wax vinyl flooring. Save on a dazzling display of lights, ceiling fans, and more. Our hardware department is second to none, and it's filled with savings, too. Like this Black & Decker quarter-inch drill on sale now for just $12.99. Come on in, shop Menards. We're smashing prices to save you money.
Save big money at Menards.
Help find the missing children. Stay tuned for the Missing Children Network, made possible by your local 7-Up bottler. Next on Newscenter 13.
You're watching WHO-TV Des Moines, Iowa's News Center. And now, Scott Pope and Susie Robinette. Chief Meteorologist Mike Lozano. And Jeff Beimpour with sports. This is News Center 13 at 6.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. President Reagan went before Congress today and handed over his wish list for 1986.
And tonight, News Center 13 is going to show you what some of the proposed increases and decreases the president is asking for is going to mean to our state. First off, let's talk about the good news. The president's budget would mean new flood control projects for Iowa, one of which includes $350,000 for more study on the Greenbelt area along the Des Moines River. And as we know, the president wants to increase defense. $2.6 million is proposed for military construction here in our state. The president also wants an increase in Medicare spending and a 3.7% cost of living increase for Social Security beneficiaries. Now, the not-so-good news. The president wants to cut an estimated 1 million college students from federal aid programs, and even deeper cuts in the area of agriculture, a 17% cut from the Ag Department, including trimming commodity prices and income supports for our farmers.
Of course, the big question is, how are we as Iowans going to deal with the proposed federal budget cuts? That is, of course, a big concern of Governor Terry Branstad, who joins us live from his home here in Des Moines tonight. Governor, we appreciate you taking some time and spending with us.
You're welcome.
I guess the big thing that sticks out from the president's wish list is the cuts in agriculture. We know that's going to hurt us here in Iowa. How bad are the cuts going to affect us? And do you think that there is enough support in Congress to get it all passed?
I'm very concerned because we're in the midst of an agricultural crisis greater than any since the Great Depression in the 1930s. This is not the time to cut agriculture. If the president would just take the additional money he wants to put into foreign aid to foreign governments and put it into agriculture, we could solve this credit crisis in Iowa.
Governor Branstad, in light of some of the proposed cuts because of Graham-Rudman, there is talk that the state is going to be hurting for a loss of funds. Would you consider raising taxes? Some people are talking about the fact we're going to be losing this money. We may have to raise taxes. What is your feeling on that for the state?
Well, it certainly is not the time to raise taxes when people are hurting. We need to fight to see that agriculture is given a higher priority and more fair treatment out of the Congress. I'm very concerned about this budget, and I think the state is going to have to unite in a bipartisan way in support of agriculture, because that is the mainstay not only of Iowa, but of the entire Midwestern economy.
Because of the budget cuts, have you given any consideration maybe into toning down the state reorganization plan that you proposed?
Well, if anything, it means it needs to be done even more. The more we can save, the more we can be efficient, the better we're going to be able to handle the additional responsibility that we're going to be receiving as a result of these budget cuts. The states are being asked to shoulder more responsibility, and we've got to be more efficient and more economical, and we've got to be more aggressive in our effort to get treated fairly by the federal government, as well as doing a better job here at home.
You addressed the issue of agriculture in Iowa. What about possible cutbacks in social programs? How do you feel about that? Are the people of Iowa going to suffer because of these proposed cuts relating to social programs?
We haven't had a chance to analyze the details of the budget, but when you have this many people that are hurting as a result of the agricultural crisis, obviously that impacts. We've got more people going to get assistance from government today than ever before in Iowa, and we want to get these people back to work and back making a profit in agriculture, not on the welfare dole.
Governor Terry Branstad, we appreciate you being with us. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir. Well, reaction now tonight from one of the state's leading Democrats, and that is House Speaker Don Avenson. Avenson says he thinks the president's budget proposal will mean fewer state programs and higher state taxes. And Avenson says the new federalism plan will deal a knockout blow to the state of Iowa. The House Speaker says he just doesn't think the state government can possibly afford to pick up the costs of programs that the president wants to get rid of.
Susie, as you mentioned off the top of the newscast, the Iowa military will get about $2.6 million out of President Reagan's budget proposal, but most of that money will go toward Camp Dodge up in Johnston. The appropriation would be used to build a maintenance training site, a new field firing range, and modifications in the sewage system. Now, other National Guard installations around the state of Iowa will split up whatever's left over.
Well, Scott, while Camp Dodge would benefit handsomely from the Reagan budget, students in Iowa would not be as fortunate. Reagan's cuts would severely curtail federal student tuition aid programs, and the cuts would be especially hard on Iowa's private colleges and universities. Steve Oswalt now with that story.
As the snow fell on Drake University, the budget cuts seemed far away. But if approved, they could have a serious impact here and at every other Iowa college. Under the Reagan plan, all students receiving any kind of federal aid next year would have to pass a new, tougher financial evaluation. Even if they were able to meet the new standards, the aid wouldn't be as good. Consider the popular government-guaranteed student loan. Now it's interest-free while students remain in school with lower-than-market interest rates after graduation. Under the Reagan plan, interest would be charged during school at the Treasury bill rate, now about 7%. Interest would increase when the student is graduated. The steep cuts in the Reagan budget could cause some financial hardship for students. We went into the student union here at Drake University to get their opinion.
I'm very, very strongly against this, and because I believe that education is very important. Quite frankly, I need that financial aid to go to school.
Granted, the budget deficit is a problem and things need to be cut. I mean, you're talking about the future of America here. You're talking about its future and how to be educating its students. The repercussions of cutting student aid now will be felt in years to come.
1/5 of the 5 million U.S. students now receiving federal aid would receive no aid at all under the Reagan budget. Steve Oswalt, Newscenter 13.
Communities that approved the local option sales tax last year could be off the hook soon. Today, the Ways and Means Committee in the Iowa House approved a resolution allowing those communities to repeal the tax. Now, some retailers in towns like Polk City were upset with the fact that they would have to collect the tax from customers, while their competitors in other towns where the tax was defeated would not. The bill approved today also stipulates that from now on, local option taxes must be approved county-wide, not by individual towns.
And coming up next, we have more debate to tell you about, this time on where to put drunken driving offenders.
And the long-range forecast is unclear for the state's climatologist. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We at Reichardt's don't believe that you buy an elegant Southwick suit like this just to keep warm or to cover your body. You buy it to look your best and feel your best every time you put it on. And those are very, very good reasons. And if you can wear it with confidence for years and it will remain in style like our suits will, those are also very, very good reasons. Since 1953, we have featured Southwick clothes because they're quality, and there just isn't any substitute for quality. See the handwork around the armholes, the collars, and the shoulders? These extra hours of hand sewing give you a more perfect fit and a more comfortable fit. So if you too want a suit that you can wear with confidence year after year like you can a Southwick, then come and see us at Reichardt's. If we don't have what you want in stock or you're difficult to fit, we'll have your suit made to your measure at regular rack prices. We have courteous and competent personnel here. No sale is ever final here. We'll guarantee your complete satisfaction when you shop here, and I'll see to it because I'm here. I'm Bill Reichard, and I own the store.
We're the one, we're your Super Value store, we're the one.
This week at Super Value, buy Wilderness Pie-Filling Cherry, Lemon, or Apple, a 20-ounce can, only 77 cents. A 46-ounce can of Flavor Right or Super Value Tomato Juice, just 53 cents. Buy a 2-pound bag of C&H powdered or brown sugar for 75 cents, and an 18-ounce jar of Flavor Right or Super Value Peanut Butter, only 99 cents, now through Tuesday.
We're the one, Super Value.
The energy game. At best, it's chancy. At worst, it's a disaster.
Oh, no.
This winter, save up to 42% on your heating bills with the high-efficiency Lennox Pulse gas furnace.
for old-fashioned customer service with the latest equipment.
Call O'Brien Plumbing and Heating in Menlo and Guthrie Center, serving you since 1947.
I'm Dave of Clayton Plumbing and Heating, serving the Croydon area since 1914.
I'm Matt, the fourth generation of Clayton's, continuing to serve your home energy needs.
When you play the energy game, you always win with Lennox.
Former Des Moines insurance executive Louis Riskin was back in court today. He's appealing his conviction of trying to hire a hitman to kill local union leader Vernon Bennett back in 1984. Riskin's attorney, Philip Meyer, claims that prosecutors in the first trial took part in a secret payoff to a government witness in exchange for testimony. Meyer claims the defense was not informed of the payoff and that information could have led to the acquittal of Riskin because the government witness was allegedly unreliable. Prosecutor Guy Cook claims the government has nothing to hide and he's denying all the allegations. Testimony in that case will continue tomorrow.
The state could not have avoided the prison uprising at Fort Madison. That was the word today from the state ombudsman who investigated the riot. William Angrick says the uprising was caused by a small group of violent inmates who acted without a specific grievance. And he said Fort Madison security officials really couldn't have anticipated the loosely organized incident. Well, a plan to build a state prison for drunken drivers is undergoing some changes in the legislature right now. The Iowa House is working on a plan that would set up 8 regional treatment centers, not just one. Some lawmakers favor this idea because the patient is closer to his or her family.
Icy roads this morning are blamed for a 2-car collision on Des Moines' south side. Vehicles were apparently traveling in opposite directions when the eastbound car, driven by 18-year-old Stacy Gostaff, lost control and began spinning. A westbound car driven by 35-year-old Carolyn Mullenix hit Grosteff's car broadside. Now, neither was seriously injured, but state troopers at the scene say Mullenix was wearing a seatbelt, and that probably saved her life.
Well, on the topic of weather, day in and day out, it affects all of our lives one way or another. In fact, it's so important, Iowa has had a state climatologist the past decade, but his job may be in jeopardy under Governor Branstad's reorganization plan. Our meteorologist Tim Hedrick reports.
History has shown weather can either make or break an Iowa harvest. Improved long-range forecasts have become a benefit to the Iowa farmer. But Iowa state climatologists could be a victim of reorganization and state cutbacks. If cut, Iowa would be only one of 3 states in the nation without a state climatologist.
One of them is Wyoming and the other one is Pennsylvania. And I suspect that weather is not as vital to their economy as it is in the Midwest.
Most of Waite's work centers on Iowa's climate and its effect on farmers. He provides long-range forecasts, available crop moisture, and other important information that helps the farmer plan. Fact is, the information has been more critical the past decade because of our extreme weather patterns.
2 years ago, we went from some of the worst floods of record in the spring through into June. Then we immediately proceeded from there into droughtiness.
Waite's office also provides information for utility companies. If the position is cut, Waite's not sure where that information will come from. Paul Waite deals with percentages each day. He's never had to make a long-range forecast about his own job before. At this point, there probably isn't enough data in to make that forecast. Tim Hedrick, Newscenter 13.
Nice to see Tim doing a package, and we know that you work with Paul Waite quite a bit.
That's right, and he is a very indispensable part of our weather operation,
Absolutely.
Believe it or not, and past history does repeat itself. Anyway, it's going to repeat itself this weekend. We'll tell you all about it right after this.
Charles Gabus Ford has just sweetened the pie. Yes, during Charles Gabus Ford's Sweetheart Sale, take home a pair of heart earrings or sweetheart candle just for test driving a new Ford. Purchase a new Ford and receive a box of Sweetheart candy, plus 7.9% financing on all V6 Thunderbirds and LTDs, manual Escorts, EXPs, E-Series vans, conversion vans, club wagons, Ranger, and F-Series pickups. Charles Gabus Ford, Iowa and Nebraska's largest and sweetest Ford dealer.
Announcing a special offer at Wendy's.
Another burger offer. Whoopee.
But our offer starts with a quarter pound of fresh ground beef.
Okay, Wendy's, the fresh part, I'll give you.
Served hot off the grill with cheese and crisp bacon.
A bacon cheeseburger? Oh, Wendy's, you're reaching me.
Then we top it with your choice of fresh toppings.
And the offer?
Now you can get it all for only $1.49. Wendy's Bacon Cheeseburger for a limited time, only $1.49. When you're in the business of saving lives, you better not let your transmission die. That's why many ambulance fleets go to AMCO, because AMCO does better than fix your transmission. They rebuild it to perform like new. Ambulances can't take unnecessary risks. Should you? Go where you know it's better than fixed. It's AMCO, AA, MCO.
Announcing the Midas Challenge.
Midas challenges you to find a better price for an exhaust system. Midas challenges you to shop around and bring a written estimate to us, because we'll match that price or beat it. And you'll be getting a muffler from Midas, the muffler experts. That's the Midas Challenge. So come in today. You'll drive away with a muffler at a price nobody can challenge.
Trust the Midas touch.
Well, let's take a quick look at the national map. I want to point out a couple of things to you that are really important to our weather. For one thing, the flow over the United States at about, let's say between 20 and 40,000 feet is basically coming out of the west, dipping down to the south, and then coming up this way. So you say, what does that have to do with us? Okay, see this front way up here? There's cold air, very cold air, back up here in Canada. For the most part, that cold air is going to stay put. That's good news for us. The bad news for us is that down to the south, there's a lot of development. We'll take the easy stuff first. Coming in from the east coast, stationary front, going to a low. That's the low that set off our snow yesterday, now making a rapid exit before we can catch up to it. And the stationary front continues down into Texas. A low pressure center here. Nothing much to worry about. It goes on into Mexico. But this one right here, centered right around Clovis, New Mexico. That could be a problem to us because of the upper air flow going this way and then back up this way. This low pressure center will likely track off towards the northeast, let's say at about 20 miles per hour. In doing so, it's going to pick up a lot of Gulf moisture over here, and we've got some pretty good moisture. Look at this. High of 74 degrees in New Orleans, 74 in Tampa, 78 in Miami. Throw it up over the colder air over here, and these are the representative temperatures. 32 today's high in North Platte, Nebraska, 31 at the Twin Cities, 36 in Kansas City. The end result is going to be a chance of snow and freezing rain and rain down here in Missouri. We think this low is going to come right through Missouri. That'll set you up. The rain or snow could be potentially heavy. We're keeping a very, very close eye on that thing. On the satellite map right now, you can see the counterclockwise curvature right in here of that upper air system. As we mentioned, it's sitting right around Clovis, New Mexico. Out here, some very, very thick cloud cover, and of course there's some very thin cloud cover. Some people have even reported seeing blue skies. I saw some out the window just a little while ago, but most of this stuff has snow falling out of it, very light snow. Let's go to this stuff right now. Add a little computer enhancement, very heavy thunderstorm activity over in eastern Texas. It turns into rain across Oklahoma, some rain shower activity out in the Texas Panhandle, north central Texas, and some snow, but a lot of fog. Visibility is down to 0 in some portions of Nebraska and South Dakota. Now, when you look at the radar summary, here's the situation. Here's one of the fronts causing a little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity down here, and right in Texas, 2 tornado watches, the earliest tornado watches we've seen in quite a while here. And these tornado watches out until 9 o'clock this evening. They have reported hook echoes, but that doesn't really mean a whole heck of a lot. This thing here, the shower activity, likely will move in, as we said, probably tomorrow night and Friday. Look for a chance of possibly heavy snow or possibly freezing rain. 33 degrees right now here at home, 34 at Lamoni, 33 at Ottumwa. This is the freezing line just to the north of us, 24 in Spencer right now. Here's a look at our current conditions in the forecast. 33 right now, our dew point 29, cloudy skies, winds north-northeast at 9 miles per hour. We officially had 2.6 inches of snow, the wind chill 21 degrees. For tonight, cloudy, scattered light snow, flurries and fog, winds north-northeast at 5 to 10, low of 28 degrees. Then tomorrow, cloudy with a chance of flurries in the north, chance of light snow in the south, winds east to northeast with a high of 32 degrees. Tomorrow night, cloudy with a chance of snow in the southern third, chance of light snow and flurries in the northern two-thirds, low of 26. The extended forecast, Friday and Saturday, a chance of heavy snow or freezing rain and snow in the southern half. Sunday, a chance of flurries. Monday, partly cloudy.
Getting back to looking more like wintertime.
That's right.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
What's your day looking like today?
Well, I'm going to get a haircut tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah. Oh, the sports. Yeah. That's not a real big day. We'll be back to tell you about what's not going on. Don't go away.
Osteopathic specialists receive comprehensive training in hospital programs as interns and spend up to 6 additional years as residents developing their specialty skills. The University of Osteopathic Medicine has a complete staff of specialists at Olson Clinic, located at 2150 Grand Avenue. These doctors are dedicated to serving your health care needs.
For information or appointments, call 280-WELL, W-E-L-L.
Hey, guys, how does a fish dinner sound?
Sounds good to me. Now at Long John Silver's, you can get 3 fish fillets, fries, creamy coleslaw, and hush puppies, all for one special price.
Sounds like a taste in a place I wanna be. Sounds crisp, sounds light, but there's a crunch in every bite. Long John Silver's.
3-piece fish dinner for a special price.
Sounds good to me. We stand behind it.
Last year, we told you how Bladex guarantees your weed control. Today, what do corn growers say?
Weed control with Bladex was excellent and cost less.
The guarantee really sold us.
Bladex shared our risk. We like that.
Across the Corn Belt, growers agree. Bladex used at labeled rates means guaranteed weed control. See your dealer, and you'll believe in Bladex.
Shell stands behind it.
A financial plan? You sit here and you think, sure, someday when all these bills are paid and there's a little extra money, that's when I'll start planning. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. You should be sitting here, now, with a financial planner from IDS. An IDS plan can help you find extra money to invest, to enjoy, to make your life better starting today. Really, shouldn't you be sitting here? IDS, Personal Financial Planner.
You can fish or sail a boat in Des Moines. You can see a parade float in Des Moines. You can fly balloon or up for opera tunes. You have it all in Des Moines. You have it all right here in Des Moines. Everything your heart desires in Des Moines. Just take a look around. There's never been a town quite like Des Moines. The new Des Moines, it's who we are. TV13, it's who we are.
One look at the Missouri Valley Conference basketball stats released today, and you can see why the Drake Bulldogs are doing so well. To begin with, Drake is at or near the top of 4 very important categories, starting with field goal percentage. Take a look at it. They've attempted 411 shots. They've made 209 of them, shooting over 50% from the field. That is first in the Valley. In terms of offense, they have, in 8 games, they have scored 556 points, averaging about 70 a game. That's a number 1 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Free throw percentage, second in the Valley, hitting 74%. And scoring defense, they're only allowing opponents to shoot 44% against them. That's second in the Valley. And in defensive margin, they are +5, and that is third in the Valley. And you add those all together, and that equals second place in the conference. North Carolina State University is scheduled to name their new athletic director tomorrow. And speculation is that Wolfpack basketball coach Jim Valvano will get the job. He quit his coaching position. Valvano won the national championship a couple of years ago, upsetting Houston in the final. Hayden Fry and Jim Kreiner have both announced some more football recruits for Iowa. Greg Egetter and Ken Allgaier, both linemen from St. Louis, and Matt Rulin, a defensive lineman from Wisconsin. Iowa State has announced that defensive back John Dozier, a junior college transfer from Triton College in Illinois, will become a Cyclone. The NHL All-Star game last night, won by the Wales Conference 4-3 in overtime. This was the winning goal. Islander teammates pairing up to get it. Mike Bossy to Brian Trottier. It goes off his skate and in for the winner. But the MVP was goalie Grant Fuhr from the losing team. Take a look at this save and you can see why. 15 shots, 15 saves for Fuhr. This was his first. This was his winning prize, a new car, and then afterwards, this is what Fuhr had to say about the game.
I mean, you got this much talent, you can't have a defensive hockey game. I mean, it just wouldn't seem right. It just took guys a little while to get their legs and eventually turned into an offensive game.
It wasn't a reflection, really. The game wasn't offensive because we didn't have an 8-7 score. I thought it was an offensive game. I thought the goaltending was extremely strong, as well as the defensemen clearing the loose pucks in front of the net.
Now, the NBA All-Star Game will be coming up this weekend. The sight of a basketball player hurling his body into the stands after a loose ball always makes you want to pause for just a moment to make sure he's all right. After that, you can applaud his hustle. Here's to all those blue-collar workers in the NBA who sacrificed their bodies, with special thanks to our old Broadway buddy, Oliver.
Sit yourself at home. Come sit yourself, one of the family. I'm talking to you, so strong. It's clear we're going to get along. Consider yourself well in. Consider yourself a lot to spare. Who cares? Whatever we got, we share. Consider yourself our mate. We don't want to have no fuss. For after some consideration, we can state. Consider yourself one of us.
Hope you saw Des Moines' own Bobby Hansen in there, sacrificing his body for the good of the team. And we should have a tribute for all the fans that those guys land on, too.
Have to get a special insurance policy in the front couple of rows there. Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
You may recall Greyhound opened its new national accounting office in West Des Moines last May. But today the company said it's still too early to say for sure, but some 120 of the estimated 800 workers in West Des Moines could be moved elsewhere. Greyhound wants to set up a new subsidiary to go after the charter bus business. Greyhound said it's also considering moving its telephone operations to Iowa, but they are also looking at other Iowa cities.
In other local business news tonight, there was talk once again of a World Trade Center for Des Moines. Polk County Auditor Ned Chido, who serves on the Trade Center Site Selection Committee, says the panel will meet sometime later this month. This time, Chido says, though, the committee will concentrate more on promoting Iowa trade. The World Trade Center idea was put on mothballs last year after negotiations with the John Ruan Group fell through.
We'll check today's stocks and be back to take a look at the newest game in town. Stay with us.
Are you a Treflan user? Well, if so, and you've got insecticide boxes, you're a lot closer to banning amebin granules over Treflan than you might think. All you need to do is add this Gandy Row Bander to what you already have. It's simple and quick, and right now it's also very affordable because you can get it for about 2/3 off the normal list price. Dial 1-800-445-4000 and you'll find out how little it costs. This rig was adapted for a low $7.60 a row. That's $7.60 and a few minutes of your time to install a row bander that will effectively apply weed-stopping amebin granules over all of your soybean rows. This brochure will tell you all you need to know about getting these special discounts, and it's yours free.
Just dial the toll-free number you see on your screen and ask for your copy. Whatever make planter you own, this money-saving offer from the makers of amebin can really help.
So dial now. Both the call and the brochure are free of charge. That's 1-800-445-4000.
Hy-Vee, shop Hy-Vee.
Treat your kids to a snack filled with sunshine. Sun-Kissed Navel Oranges, now just 28 cents a pound at Hy-Vee. Other savings include Keebler Saltine Crackers, 69 cents. Hy-Vee Tomatoes, 3 for $1. And Banquet Frozen Meat Pies, 29 cents. Stock up now during the Chairman's Sale at Hy-Vee.
Where there's a helpful smile in every aisle.
Here it comes again, the original Ember's Blockbuster Breakfast. Brace yourself, because you can once again have breakfast 24 hours a day for just $1.99, and they mean a blockbuster breakfast. 2 eggs, 3 pancakes, 2 slices of bacon, 2 sausages, and what's more, you'll also get hash browns with melted cheese. The 24-hour breakfast meal deal, 7 days a week, just $1.99 at Ember's Family Restaurants. Available at all Ember's locations, where your satisfaction is guaranteed.
The Iowa Lottery has officially designated the celestial star Rigel as its official lucky star in the new instant lottery game. It is called, appropriately enough, Lucky Stars, and was appropriately enough unveiled today at the Des Moines Planetarium. Commissioner Ed Stanek says there will be twice as many winners as in previous games, and the odds are greater to win the bigger cash prizes. If you reveal a star and match it with 2 matching dollar amounts, you can double the amount you win.
We need to have more winners. And by structuring this game to have nearly twice as many winners as in the previous games, there'll be a lot more fun in playing it.
Tickets are on sale now, and the new lottery was to have been unveiled last week, but was postponed due to the tragedy with the Space Shuttle Challenger.
Missing children are defined in 3 categories: stranger abductions, non-custodial abductions, and runaways. The pictures seen on the Missing Children Network and Newscenter 13 are children whom are abducted by strangers or their non-custodial parent. On May the 23rd, 1984, Luke Treadway vanished while walking home from a friend's house in Portland, Oregon. He has not been seen since. Now 11 years old, Luke has dark blonde hair and brown eyes. At the time of his disappearance, he was 4 feet tall and weighed 70 pounds. Missing from Chicago, Illinois is 5-year-old Gary Feltman. Gary has blonde hair, brown eyes, and a birthmark on the right side of his stomach. Gary was abducted August the 20th, 1982. Now 17 years old, Tony Peterman was taken from his school in Kennendale, Texas, October the 27th, 1977, when he was 11. Tony has dark blonde hair and blue eyes. He has a 1.5-inch scar on his left shoulder. Call the 1-800 number if you have any information about these children.
And an update tonight on the problem with crow droppings in downtown Des Moines. That problem appears to have been solved. As we first told you last week, hundreds of crows in the 6th and High area were causing quite a mess. In fact, city health officials were ready to blast the birds with a giant noisemaker this morning. But the crows were gone this morning. They're gone for good, I guess.
Thanks for joining us. That's our news.
We'll see you.
The People's Court. It's Who We Are, weekdays at 5 on 13.
From Hollywood, it's Alumni Day on the all-new Newlywed Game. And now, let's welcome back 4 of our favorite